Donald Trump said that he's going to challenge the result if he ever loses these elections.
If you have a mail-in ballot, get that damn ballot in, please, immediately, because they've already started cheating in Lancaster. They've cheated. We caught them with 2,600 votes. No, we caught them cold, 2,600. And every vote was written by the same person. I wonder how that happened. It must be a coincidence. It must be a coincidence.
Well, this word Donald Trump has said, it has raised a lot of conflict among Americans, and there are those who came and tried to challenge him by saying this.
I understand that Donald Trump wants to again, use the same playbook where he tries to, create chaos and stoke division and fear about our system. But again, we will have a free and fair, safe and secure election in Pennsylvania, and the will of the people will be respected and protected.
All right, contradicting Donald Trump is one thing, but the fact is, what Donald Trump has said, or whatever Donald Trump is trying to raise up right now concerning on how the result of these elections is going to have impact on Americans, whereby there will be a group of people who will have to come and swap the result compared to the one that happened in the previous elections in the United States of America. Was that something that Donald Trump have right to raise it up or not? Why Donald Trump is threatening already the government of the USA, saying that he's going to challenge this result if he loses these elections? What could be the motivation behind him? Is it something that Donald Trump is just wake up and decide to choose? Or is it something that is having kind of like a solid, proof which he have on his possession that shows that they are indeed preparing to change the result, and he's kind of like saying that he's not going to accept again the result to be swiped? So all this, is it something that only Donald Trump who's raising it up, or is it something that other organizations within the government of the USA, they are aware of? Look at this report. The FBI have warned the serious scammers who's supposed to be taking place in these coming elections.
The FBI has issued a new warning ahead of the US presidential election about scammers trying to pull off election fraud schemes. In a statement, they say names, images and logos from presidential candidates can be fraudulently used to sell items or confuse people in an effort to steal their personal information.
Now guys, in this report which the FBI has on people of America for the possible scammers, of course, they supposed to name each and every list or each and every name who are being part of these possible scammers that, as we get to see in this report, we just play for you. But that did not happen, because now we are seeing two sides. They are busy accusing one another. And the first person who jumped in behalf of Democrat, that was Harris Kamala, who have to come and accuse Donald Trump, saying that it is Donald Trump with his foreigners, or should I say other leaders in the world, that they are believing in working with Donald Trump. They are the one who are behind these scammers.
World leaders think that Donald Trump is an easy mark. Easy to manipulate with flattery or favor. And you can believe that autocrats like Putin and Kim Jong-un are rooting for him in this election. I will always uphold our security, advance our national interest, and ensure that the United States of America remains, as we must forever be, a champion of liberty around the world.
Now, remember that Kamala Harris, she's representing the Democrat, isn't it? And come to think of it, we all know how Democrats, they've been dealing with the foreign policies when it comes to the USA foreign policies. We saw on how they managed to do things around the world, whether it is in the Africa continent, whether it is in the Middle East. The way they get to deal with their opponent, you will see that these people, they don't care at all, because they have their own missions. And these missions, it is something that will develop for you in a second. But right now, I just want to picture this in your mind. So we saw how they do these things around the world. And for them, this is a very good opportunity for them to start accusing other world leaders whom they believe that these are the enemy number one of the United States of America, who they believe that these people, they can bring them up as a topic in order for them to convince Americans so that they can vote for them in the ballot papers. Because they need to come up with something which can be more solid, that can convince Americans to remind them of who they are as a sovereign countries, and telling them that if we let these other world leaders to come and interfere in our elections, they are going to destroy us because we won't have nothing to do. And this time they have to go for such world leaders such as Kim Jong-un, the president of North Korea. They have to go for the leadership of Iran. They have to go for leadership of Cuba, Venezuela. Of course, they have to go far also by confirming the interference of the Republic of Russia in these elections. We also how the DOJ organization have to come forward and even mention the name of one of the Russian television, saying that they've been really doing a big campaign on social media in order for them to interfere in the USA elections results.
As RT itself has boasted, the government of Russia continued to use RT to direct disinformation and propaganda. In the wake of Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, RT's editor-in-chief said the company had built, quote, an entire empire of covert projects designed to shape public opinion in Western audiences. We allege that as part of that effort, RT and its employees, including the defendants, implemented a nearly $10 million scheme to fund and direct a Tennessee-based company to publish and disseminate content deemed favorable to the Russian government.
Officials say it's linked to right-wing commentators with millions of subscribers on YouTube and other social media platforms.
You might ask a question to know, why are they accusing Russia, saying that they are trying to interfering in this USA elections result? Well, of course, because according to them, they are attacking Russia because they know very well that Russia is being considered their enemy number ones. And when these enemy number ones have to come and have influence on your elections, it is what they are scared of. Why are they actually scared? They are scared because they know very well that if peace reign between Russia and Ukraine, they will not be able to make enough money. I'll tell you why. Because the more Russia keep on fighting Ukraine, the more them they are able to make enough money, the more they keep continue to be able to continue showing their leadership in the Republic of Russia, so that Russia should not be one of the strong countries in the world. So this conflict that is happening in Ukraine, of course, it is a way of them making money, because they're the one who produce these guns, they are the one who get to supply them, they are the one who sell it at the price of their choices, and these are the things that they don't want anyone to come and stop this business. And I'm referring here to the to the Democrats who are in power right now, because when the Republicans they were in power under Donald Trump, we did not see about the war between Russia and Ukraine. We did not see the war in the Middle East between Iran and Israel. We did not see Israel with Palestine. You know why? Because the Republicans, they were just not willing to do those kind of business. They might have maybe engaged in different other mafias, but not that kind of business of selling weapons. So the Democrat, this is something that is benefiting them a lot, and that's the reason why they are doing everything by all means to make sure that they destroy the image of Donald Trump as the Republican candidate to these elections, so that they can continue with whatsoever they've been doing so far in these activities or the USA foreign policies. So the Democrats, they are accusing Donald Trump, saying that him with his friends such as Putin and Kim Jong and China's, these people, they are there, they are influencing him. He's a softened man to them. And on the other side, we are having Donald Trump, who's denying all this and accusing also the Joe Biden administration, saying that they have failed, they are the most weakened president or leadership that they are having, because the world does not respect them anymore.
Sanctions have to be used very judiciously, and you can win. We have things much more powerful, actually, than sanctions. We have trade, but we cannot lose our dollar standard. We didn't have conflicts like you have right now. We had very intelligent people. But the biggest threat you have is you lose that currency, and we have lost something that you'll never get back. And we can keep it if we're smart, but they use it too much, and then they just forget about it. And these countries like Russia, it's going out now and doing its own thing, and you know, they're going out bragging about how they don't need us anymore, et cetera, et cetera. The sad part about Russia is that Ukraine would have never happened if I was president, so we wouldn't really have to be talking about sanctions. But it did happen. And one of the things I'm going to do, a little bit relevant to your question, is if we win, I believe I can settle that war while I'm president-elect. Before I ever get into office, I can get that war settled and get that war stopped, because it's a horrible, horrible war.
Oh yes, Donald Trump said that even the US currency does not have impact in the world market anymore, all because the leadership of Joe Biden, it had really exposed the USA, and they become useless to the eyes of to the eyes of everyone around the world. And you see how they get to attack each other, all just because they want to kick each other out from power so that another person can take over, or whoever who's in power, they can continue with their leadership. Guys, now with all this being said, my question to you is that whatsoever is happening right now, all these rumors we are hearing on how this USA elections, it will be interfered by the foreigner countries or whatsoever. My question is this the first time these things get to happen? Is the USA actually, do they even do that, the so-called Democrats elections, the fair and the real elections? Do they do they usually have it? The answer to that is no. And it is not something that I'm trying to make it up, but the history, it can remind you exactly that the USA, they pretend to be the most democratic country in the world, and they pretend to act like the fine examples in everything. But this report I'm about to play for you, it will make you understand at what point the USA, they never organized a fair elections in the USA border.
Instructed to enter challenge ballots into vote tabulating machines in Wayne County. Normally, challenge ballots would be set aside and not counted. And White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany told Sean Hannity this week that the Trump campaign has 234 pages of sworn affidavits from witnesses alleging vote fraud.
They are alleging, this is one county, Wayne County, Michigan. They are saying that there was a batch of ballots where 60% had the same signature. They are saying that 35 ballots had no voter record, but they were counted anyway. That 50 ballots were run multiple times through a tabulation machine. That one woman said her son was deceased, but nevertheless somehow voted.
In Nevada, at least 10,000 non-residents were allowed to send in ballots for counting there. And what about Pennsylvania and other states? Well, here to share some evidence is Neil McCabe. He's communications director at Project Veritas. Neil, thanks for your time. So I know your organization and James O'Keefe are known for your many undercover videos. We've shown portions of them over the years. Now, you've received more than 12,000 tips about fraud this time, some from whistleblowers afraid to come forward. So tell us what you've discovered overall.
Well, you know, Gary, we've received, as you said, thousands and thousands of phone calls and emails, and we're sifting through all of them. We have a special team of people dedicated to make sure that we sort of separate the wheat from the chaff. But we do have very important whistleblowers who have come forward. 2 postal workers in Traverse City, Michigan, confirmed to us that late ballots were being collected, sorted separately so that they could be postmarked November 3rd. And these are late ballots that came in after Election Day. Richard Hopkins, who is a mail carrier in Erie, Pennsylvania, he came forward with a similar account. He said that he overheard his postmaster rebuking a supervisor because one of the late ballots that came in was postmarked November 4th instead of the 3rd. Now, Hopkins said he heard this on the morning of November 5th. Now, Hopkins originally spoke to us with a disguised voice and a blurred face. Eventually, he decided he wanted to come on the record with his own name, and so he did that. He also swore out an affidavit, which was submitted to the Senate Judiciary Committee and acknowledged by South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham as being a keystone document in his investigation into election fraud. Since then, Hopkins has received tremendous pressure to change his account, and he endured more than 3 hours of an interrogation from an agent from the Post Office Inspector General Office who was flown in from New York City, Gary, to basically work him over and to, quote, update on.
You can see for yourself the kind of fraud which took place in the previous elections in the USA. The elections that proclaimed Joe Biden as the winner. And you could see on how all this report demonstrated on certain kind of the ballot papers which could not reach the final destinations where it's supposed to be counted accordingly. And all this, you're never gonna see them showing it in their medias. Actually, this kind of footage, they'll even try their best to make sure that they hide it in the eyes of everyone. The point to take from all this is to confirm and prove to you that the USA, they never organized the fair elections. The USA, they know the kind of impact they do around the world, the kind of harms they usually cause to other nations around the world, and they know very well that they can't live being at peace and being a powerful economy in their countries without doing whatsoever they've been doing to other nations around the world. So it is for that reasons, whoever who have to come and sit in that positions, they have to do everything in their power to make sure that they can come and succeed with these elections. That's the reason why you see they can use any kind of fraudulence. They can use any kind of campaign to just come and make people believe that, no, look, this is not something that's supposed to happen. Look, we have done 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, Russia is there. Look, China is trying to do this, because they need to come up with something which can make the Americans believe in them, and then they'll take actions from there. Guys, look, I want you to pay attention to these diplomats as he gets to explain in details through his analysis on how the USA, they never respect the so-called Democrats, and the elections, how it does not take place in the USA because they never try to do things in the right way. I don't want to say much in his behalf, but let us first listen to him, then I'll be back with more analysis.
I mean, obviously, there's not a question about whether or not they have free and fair elections in the United States. Why would they? Why would you think that they did? They interfere with elections all around the world. They interfere with the election just recently in South Africa. They interfere with elections in Georgia. They interfere with elections everywhere they go. They subvert democracy all around the world. What makes you think that they wouldn't subvert democracy right there at home? Of course they do. Well, I think that they interfere and subvert democracy in their own country more effectively and more comprehensively than they're even able to do it in other countries. And we know that they're able to do it in other countries extremely well and extremely effectively and get the results that they want. So do you think that they're not going to ensure that they get the results that they want in their own country? Of course they do. You'd be naive to think that they don't. They didn't just find out that Joe Biden has experienced cognitive decline. They didn't just find out that the man has dementia. All of those people in the Democratic Party who were pushing for him to step down or pushing for him to not seek re-election, they've been interacting with him. They've been talking to him. They know perfectly well that the man has lost his mind. And they've been knowing that for 4 years, and they didn't mind. This isn't about wanting him to step down or wanting him to step aside because they think that he's not competent. No one ever thought he was competent. What it's about is that you know that when your own people, your own Democrats, your own liberals are making fun of Joe Biden online, on social media, on television, in the mainstream media, and so on, the man has become a laughingstock. That means that him winning in a rigged election wouldn't be plausible. No one would believe that. It was barely believable even in 2020. So there's no way that you could get people to actually believe that Democrats turned out in significant enough numbers to give Joe Biden a victory in 2024. He was asked to step down or asked to step aside because the Democratic Party knows that if they want to sell their appointed president to the public as if they were democratically elected, there has to be some degree of plausibility to that. You see, if they could have, they would have given the Democratic Alliance in South Africa the full victory, but it wasn't plausible. So there has to be some degree of believability. I don't think Kamala Harris is any more popular than Joe Biden, and she's not much of a better speaker. It's a choice between Kamala Harris, who always sounds like she's a little bit drunk, or Joe Biden, who sounds like he's in a perpetual fugue state. However, with Kamala Harris, you have certain factors that will be very appealing to the liberal base, to the Democratic base, that allow you to craft a narrative that makes her victory plausible, regardless of whether she gets the votes or not. If she's appointed as the winner in a rigged, unfree, unfair election, which is what you have in the United States, because, as I say, that's what the United States tries to ensure you have everywhere else in the world. So you better believe that they make sure that in their own country, it's just as controlled and managed a process as it is a controlled and managed process anywhere else in the world that the U.S. has a hand in it. So when they appoint the candidate whom they want to win, whom they've decided to win, who the oligarchs have decided should win, they need there to be some democratic plausibility to that win, to make people think, either make people think that yes, they did, this candidate did in fact win, or you make such a convincing and coercive and manipulative narrative around that candidate that no one will admit that they didn't vote for that candidate. In other words, she's going to be the first woman president. Well, wouldn't you be ashamed of yourself if you didn't vote to break the presidential glass ceiling? She's a woman of color. Well, wouldn't you be ashamed to say that you didn't vote for a woman of color? Well, that would make you a racist. If you don't vote for her, then the only two reasons that could possibly be is because she's a woman and she's a woman of color. So that means you're a misogynist and you're a racist. So you can craft a narrative around her that everyone will want to say that they voted for her even if they didn't turn out to vote at all. Because we're going to hear nothing for the next 3 months except how excited the Democrats are, how reinvigorated they are, and how thrilled and breathless with anticipation the American people are for being able to finally achieve this first woman presidency in the United States. Everyone is excited about it. So therefore, when she is appointed as the president, if that's what happens, when she is appointed as the president, everyone can believe that the hype got her elected, even if no one shows up at the voting booth. And when everyone starts cheering in triumph and applauding and congratulating themselves for being so progressive and so liberal as to elect the first woman president and the first woman of color as president, well, no one will be willing to say that they never voted for her. So it's you have a lot of strategies that you can use to convince people that it's either believable that she won or it's unthinkable that you would deny that she won. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I don't for a second believe that they have free and fair elections in the United States, and I think you'd be a fool to believe that.
Now, with all this being said, you heard on how this man gets to explain some of the things that usually take place during this time of elections in the USA borders. You understand that actually each and everything is said here, it really makes sense because these are the things we usually say here most of the time. We're usually telling you that There is no way that you can become the president of the United States of America if you are not willing to be part of this kind of mafias, if you are not willing to make your hands dirty. So you need to do anything possible in your power and forget about the so-called Democrat, forget about the so-called human rights, forget about whatsoever it is, and make yourself dirty so that you'll mark your name in the history. And that's what is happening. You heard this man saying very well that how can you count on the people who always be in the front line to destroy other countries' elections? These people, they go around the countries, especially in Africa, since they always want to see Africans as their puppets, or should I say, as nothing to their eyes. These are the same people who usually comes in Africa continent. Whenever there's elections, they will come and tell you how things should be done around. If your people vote for someone and it happened that that person is not in the good terms or in the good relationship with the USA, you know what they'll do? They'll reject these elections results. They'll come and tell you that no, this one did not win, but it was this one. Proof to that, look around Africa continent. See what is happening in Mozambique. See what happens in Niger. Why today in Niger we're having military coup over there, and we're having now the military government? Of course, because it all started whereby here comes someone who wants to impose themselves in power and trying to tell people of Niger that no, I'm the boss here, I'm the one who won these elections, therefore no one should not take me out. And people on the other side, they're like, no, we all know who we have signed our ballot paper to. We have given our ballot papers to this so-called person, and this is not what we're expecting. From there, people start protesting. From protesting, that is when now the military government, they have to come in and try to change everything around. And after that, you saw how France will have to come and have the courage to start threatening up the government, the military government of Niger, saying that no, you guys, you better reinstate the so-called elected president, according to them, of course. You better reinstate him. If you don't do so, France will invade Niger. So, come on, guys. This is crazy, and this is something that's been happening. You heard this same man, he gave also the example of South Africa elections. Do you guys still remember what happened recently in South Africa elections? If it was not because of the foreign ministers such as Naledi Pandor, who had the courage to come and stand and tell them that no, look, South Africa, it is a sovereign country, and you guys should respect our sovereignty. We're not going to allow you to come and influence or interfere in our inside affairs. This is South Africa. We are going to deal among ourselves. Because these are the same people who came and telling the government of South Africa on how they should organize these elections or on how things should have been done. So if Naledi Pandor as a foreign minister could not stand and resist against this kind of influence that the USA wanted to interfere or put in South Africa elections, well, I'm telling you, it was going to be worse. By this time, maybe these people, they were just going to be sitting somewhere in the White House and then just speak out, say a word, and the next things, it was going to be affecting South Africa politics in one way or other way. So guys, this is how the USA politics operates. So they just want to have something to say in your politics. They want to have something to say in your elections. They want to have some kind of influence on your leadership as the president of that country. They want you to be at their service. They want you to listen to them. If you disobey them, that is when they will start decorating you with other different names. They will call you a dictator. They will tell you that no, you don't respect human rights. They will tell you this and that. And at the end of the day, they will come and impose sanctions on you. See the moment when Russia with Vladimir Putin, they stand on their own and say that no, we are going to fight for our own sovereignty. We are going to fight for our destiny. What happened? Isn't it today Vladimir Putin is being considered as a murderer? Isn't it today is being considered as one of the biggest dictators in the world? Why? Because he refused to bow to their conditions. The day you will accept to their conditions, you will see they'll even treat him so nice. That's why you see the USA is very cool with its allies. France, British, Germany, Italy, all of them, they are at peace. They are having that mutual respect because the USA have put that step up and try to impose their leadership on them. And these countries are like, no, look, as long you are leaving us to steal our beef in Africa continent, we are cool. That's why they respect each other. They never challenge each other. They never call each other names. They never do whatsoever it is. And this is how these people, they've been doing all this time around the world. They go in one country to another country trying to interfere and do all those bad things as we just demonstrated it for you in this video. So guys, the rumors are there, the allegations are there at the same time. So let us just wait and see what is going to happen. Let us wait on what will be the outcome of these elections. Let us see what's going to happen as the result. They will start popping up on the screen and see whether the government of the USA to do the fair elections which the entire world can accept and believe the result, or whether it will be the kind of the result which will rest, which will left many people wondering of what really happens. Because so far, for those who've been watching us, we have spoke to you a couple of times. We demonstrated to you on how things are sitting on the table, on how these people, they want to challenge each other, on how these people, they want to work, especially when it comes in the foreign policies, on how the USA between Democrats and the Republicans, on how they get to operate. We show you all these things, and then let us wait now and see whether we were right 100% or whether they will prove us wrong by doing the fair elections in the USA. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, these people, for the fact that they always try to interfere in other people's business, bringing troubles, bringing a lot of conflicts, like in the Middle East and in Europe, in Africa continent, these things, it will affect you in one way or other way, whether we like it or not. So whenever they are trying or they are planning to do some things which we all know that it's gonna affect us sooner or later in the future, all we have to do all from our side is to come and reveal these things and expose the truth so that everyone can see it. It is in that way that we can be able to stop all this kind of nonsense that's been taking place for sometimes after all, because that is the USA for you. I believe that is all we had prepared for you today. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video in your numbers. Before you leave, make us proud. Make sure that you hit that like button, give us your thumbs up, so that these videos, it can reach to many people out there. But above all, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that whenever we are live, you'll be able to see us, okay? And feel free to drop your comment in the comment section. Tell us also what you think of what will be the outcome of these US elections, which is about to take place right now, and who do you think will win, or who do you think deserve to win these elections? Let us see also your opinions in the comment sections as we get to discuss again about this. As soon they announce the winner of these elections, we'll come back and tell you also what will be our point of view through our analysis. So once again, thank you so much. I think that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.